If you want to be wealthy and happy for the rest of your life, there is one lesson that matters more than almost anything else: learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Over the years, I've noticed something interesting: income rarely grows beyond personal growth. Sometimes money comes quickly because of luck, but if the person doesn't grow to match it, the money usually disappears. Life has a strange way of correcting things like that. Think about it this way: if someone handed you $1 million, you would need to become a millionaire fast in your thinking, habits, and skills, or that money would soon be gone. That's why someone once said that if all the money in the world were divided equally among everyone, it would eventually return to the same pockets. The people who know how to create success would do it again. That's because success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming the right kind of person. Real happiness doesn't come from what you get. It comes from what you become. When you grow, everything else grows with you. I remember a time when I had very little money. I told my mentor, Mr. Schoaf, "I don't have any money." I truly believed that was my biggest problem. He looked at me and said, "That's not the problem." I was confused. He explained that the real problem wasn't a lack of money, it was a lack of ideas. Once you learn how to create value, money follows. Ideas can change anything. That lesson changed how I saw life. If you want something different, you must learn something different. If you want success, you study success. If you want happiness, you study happiness. If you want wealth, you study wealth. Too many people leave their lives to chance, hoping things will somehow work out. But hope without learning doesn't lead very far. Mr. Schoaf also taught me the importance of writing things down. He said not to use your mind like a storage box. Keep a journal. When you learn something useful, write it down and review it often. Repetition is powerful. When you go over good ideas again and again, one day they quietly take root. Then, without warning, they begin to show up in your confidence, your decisions, your income, and your lifestyle. One of the best ways to grow is through reading. Every successful person I've met is a reader. They are curious. They want to understand how things work. Formal education gives average results, but self-education is what takes people beyond average. You can learn from your own mistakes, but learning from someone else's experience is faster. One book can save you years of struggle. There are books on leadership, confidence, communication, success, and personal growth. Hundreds of successful people have written down exactly how they built their lives, yet most people never read those books. You don't need to read for hours. Just 30 minutes a day, something positive, something challenging, something inspiring, something useful. Do that consistently, and it changes you. Another powerful way to learn is simply by listening. Spend time around people who are doing better than you and really listen to them. You can also learn from people who are struggling by noticing what not to do. Pay attention to what habits keep people stuck. Here's a piece of advice that always stuck with me: if you're not doing well, find someone who is and take them out to dinner. Listen more than you talk. A 2-hour conversation with the right person can give you ideas that change your income and your direction. Most people won't do this, and that's exactly why most people stay where they are. You can also learn just by observing. Success leaves clues. Watch how successful people speak, how they listen, how they treat others, and how they carry themselves. People who do well repeat certain behaviors over and over. If you pay attention, you can pick those habits up. There are 2 ways to see. One is with your eyes, you see things as they are. The other is with your mind, you see answers and possibilities. When you use both, you stop missing opportunities. Wherever you are, be fully there. Pay attention. If you do that, if you read, listen, observe, and work on yourself, you'll start picking up ideas that can change your life sooner than you expect. And as you grow, success won't feel like something you're chasing anymore. It will start coming to you naturally, because you've become the kind of person who attracts it. Finding out how things work is very important. That's why I shared 3 ways to learn earlier. Now let's move to the second step of personal growth. The second step is simple but powerful: go to work. One of the most exciting things in life is realizing that you can make yourself do what needs to be done. Think about this: what could you make yourself do starting tomorrow that could change everything? There's no limit. On any single day, you can greatly change the direction of your life. That's exciting. The key to discipline is to start small. Get serious about the small habits and small responsibilities. Handle those well, because small disciplines lead to big results. You can't handle the big challenges in life if you ignore the small ones. Make a list of the simple things you can do right now. Do them consistently. Discipline yourself not just for the results, but to build strength, confidence, and practice. That way, when life gives you big challenges, you'll be ready. You'll have the muscle to handle them. If you don't take care of the small things, the big ones will overwhelm you. Another important part of change is self-motivation. The truth is, it's the only kind of motivation there is. You can't depend on someone else to push you forward. Waiting for someone to turn you on is risky. What if they never show up? You need a better plan. You must take action on what you've learned. Don't let learning stop at knowledge, because knowledge without action makes you stuck. Let learning lead to action, and it can lead to wealth. And wealth doesn't just mean money. Money is only one kind of value. Some people have a lot of money but are still poor in other areas of life. Now here's the third step of personal development, and it comes with a warning. Don't try to beat the system. Learn how it works and work it, but don't try to cheat it. Some people learn just enough to cut corners, look for shortcuts, or do things the cheap way. That always leads to a cheap life. Instead, learn how things work best and do it the right way, even if it takes longer. Never compromise what is right. If I could speak to you one-on-one, my advice would be this: reach deep inside yourself and use more of the gifts you already have. They are there, waiting to be used. You can change anything in your life if you decide to. You don't have to stay the same unless you choose to. Starting tomorrow, what will you do that will change the direction of your life? That's an important question. Because if you don't change anything tomorrow, nothing will change. And if nothing changes, the next 5 years will look just like the last 5. Life only changes when you decide to change something big or small. The good news is this: anytime you choose, you can change your whole life. The choice is always yours.